Hi everyone, it's the EnglishSimmer here, and welcome back to another Sunday Funday Pride video for the month of June. I've been doing this specific video for like the last 3 years, 4 years now, basically since like my official coming out over here on YouTube. And so I thought, why not catch up with everyone? Why not try and give my unsolicited, actually, is it unsolicited advice if you lot have asked the questions? I think not. This is my yearly Q&A, where basically I answer all the questions that you lot have asked about any LGBTQIA plus topic that may have been on your mind. Basically, just a chance for us to catch up, discuss sexualities, gender, games, all of that. It's gonna be a gay old time. So grab your cuppa. I won't be spilling any tea. I also will not be including like the questions. I'll obviously read them out, but I will be deleting the post because I don't want to out anyone, especially if you are in a circumstance where it is unsafe or if your name like relates to your IRL name. I don't want people finding you. So the post will be deleted. So if you go looking for these questions, you won't find them. But enough of the disclaimers, let's get into it. Are there any features you'd like to see added to The Sims to better represent the queer community? As very 2 weeks overdue, congrats, oh my god, good luck, you are gonna be the best parent ever. Pregnant lesbian, I'd love to see fertility treatments and conception which doesn't require a romantic relationship. Yes, I would also like to see that. Obviously, we have adoption already in the game, which is amazing. Like, I absolutely love adopting kids in The Sims 4. I think it's one of the sweetest things that you can do. But I would love to see like surrogation or like some form of like treatment, I guess, like IVF or something along those lines, because the way that I usually do it if I do have a surrogate is, unfortunately, you have to have a romantic relationship and you have to woohoo with someone to get that. I mean, technically you could download a mod. I definitely know that there's insemination mods, and also if you just have like MC Command Center, you can just like tag someone to get pregnant basically and then choose who the parent is. So if you want to do surrogation, there's definitely ways to go about it, but it does require that romantic relationship, which is unfortunate if you don't really want to play that. I would love to see just more gender neutral language in the future. Obviously, we got our first step towards that, and I do think that the team are going to continue to work on this. So we got customizable pronouns within English. However, I would also love to see just like gender neutral language when it comes to your romantic partners. I think you should be able to choose whether you want to refer to someone as girlfriend, boyfriend, or just partner. Also like mum, dad, parent. So yeah, just kind of gender neutrality. And also clothing, because whilst you can untag clothing, and I will hold my hands up and say they've done a lot better job on this recently in more recent packs, especially the kits, clothing actually tends to work best on like both frames, which is really nice to see. You still do kind of have like the shadowing of the like breast area, which is unfortunate on some pieces. Some of them don't look great if they have a lot of detail around the chest area or also around like the crotch area, because obviously they're kind of built off two different presets. So I would love to see a more like gender neutral, like working better for both frames within the game. However, my only like downside with this is I really don't want it to like affect how many assets they have in Creator Sim, because I personally thought when we started getting like adult hairs also converted to children and toddlers, we absolutely stopped getting just hairs for children and toddlers, and it kind of feels like it stripped away their personality a little bit. Whilst I always want more for masculine frames because they get screwed over like every single release of The Sims 4, I just just don't want it to mean that we get less assets overall. How did you know you weren't bi, and was it hard with the stigma? A lot of people, myself included, realized it during the pandemic. What are your thoughts on the phenomenon? The global TikTok phenomenon of people finding out that they weren't straight during the pandemic is one of my favorite things. I think that is also partially because the world was a little bit slower for some people. Not saying everyone are amazing healthcare workers and people who work in like customer services and have like forward facing jobs, absolute legends. But for some of us, our lives did slow a little bit. We kind of had a bit more time to ourselves to like reflect. We were spending a lot of time on the internet, probably a lot more than we usually did. And I think that just kind of gave people a kind of security to be like, hey, like these are the feelings that I have, and like this, I'm gonna think about this, which you don't really have when you don't slow down in your day-to-day life. I actually realized that I was lesbian way before the pandemic. I used to claim that I was bi. I thought I was bisexual. I am not, just to keep you up to date with that. I have been out as a lesbian for like the last 2 years now, 2.5 years. But before that, like in my past relationship, I was like, you know what? I don't really think I'm attracted to men anymore. The only men that I really was ever attracted to, if I'm completely honest, is like, you know, your Zac Efron, your celebrities. But I was basically just like comfortable enough to be like, hey, I don't have to hold on to like this comp het way of thinking. Like I don't have to be attracted to men. And I also believe that sexuality is fluid. I genuinely think that you can shift and change and like be attracted to all types of different people at any point in your life, to be completely honest, and you can put a label on whatever you feel comfortable at the moment. The only tough thing about it was obviously I was out as bi online, and there are definitely negative connotations to like bi as a stepping stone, which it absolutely isn't. Bisexuality, pansexuality, every sexuality is valid in its own right. Whether you're in a straight presenting relationship, whether you're in a gay presenting relationship, you are still valid. What advice do you have for the baby gays or closeted gays? Oh, this is such like a big question. I would say, I know Pride Month, when you are closeted as well, kind of feels like such a pressure. I would just say your coming out is your own personal journey. You never have to come out if you don't want to. You can come out in whichever way you feel best for you. I don't feel like you should feel pressured into it by anyone or anything, any circumstance. Do it in your own time. Make sure you are safe. Your safety is like the most important thing in the world. And also, what I found really helped me when I was closeted was like just kind of consuming media that I could see myself represented in. That was kind of like my own biggest celebration of my joy in my sexuality, was like playing Life is Strange, for example, was such like a heartwarming moment for me. And I wasn't even out by that point when I played that game, but it kind of just was so nice to see. And I think like video games, The Sims as well, can be like your own little journal where you can live out these stories and you can represent yourself. And I just think that's brilliant, especially for baby gays and closeted gays, especially if you don't have like a way of meeting LGBTQIA plus people IRL. Then I always feel like just online is such a good way to meet people that you can connect with. Any gay cousins, or are you the gay cousin? I am in fact the gay cousin. Thank you for asking. And yes, I am the coolest auntie. Which are your gay Sims headcanons? Like Sims that are not confirmed to be LGBTQ, but in your mind are. Genuinely, this is gonna sound so bad. I feel like every Sim is not straight. That's kind of how I play the game anyway, but even if they're in like a hetero presenting relationship, I feel like all of the Sims have a capacity to fall in love with whoever they want to fall in love with. Like Cassandra Goth, big pansexual energy for me. Eliza Pancakes, also a bisexual or lesbian energy for me. Like I could literally go through, and I don't think, is there any Sim? Maybe, no, Nancy Landgrab, I don't even think is completely 100% straight in my eyes. I'm trying to think of if there's a Sim who gives me like big straight energy. Like Don Lothario, definitely a bisexual man. I genuinely don't think there is. Like, I'm actually trying to rack my brain. Everyone's a little bit gay. Are you a granola gay? I feel like I'm gonna disappoint so many people. I don't think I'm a granola gay. I don't really like going on hikes. I hate going on dating apps and people being like, I love walking and hiking. I'm like, oh, why? Why does every gay love to go on a walk, apparently? It's either I like going on holiday or traveling and I like walking, and I'm just like, can we please? Like, throw in like a I love woodworking. I love making pots. Like, literally, just add like your actual like niche hobbies. The only walks I like going on are like by a body of water and also through a like woods. Like, give me Folklore Evermore vibes, I'm there. Do you think asexual and aromantic people belong in the LGBTQIA plus community? Basically, this goes for everything when it comes to discussions about pronouns, sexuality, gender, presentation, all of that. I think we should just listen to the person. If an aromantic person is like, hey, I don't feel like I'm part of the LGBTQIA plus community, I'll be like, you know what? That's absolutely cool. And I am fine with that. If someone is like, hey, I really feel like I belong in the community, I'm like, hell yeah, we have another pride sibling. I genuinely just think that we should listen to people. Some people like being part of the community, some people don't like being part of the community, and any and all is absolutely fine. So yes, the A is there for a reason, for the people who want to be in it, and I will celebrate you, and I will love to include you in things, and yes, I think you belong here if you want to be here. If you don't, that's a-okay, and I also love and support you. Are you supportive of queer micro-labels, xenogenders, and neo-pronouns? Absolutely. It all goes back to the same answer. Listen to people and respect them as a person and who they are and what they go by. Genuinely, just listen. It's the easiest thing we can do. What stigma attached to being a lesbian through society/media is the most annoying to you? The only one that I've personally struggled with myself is, I think this comes from, again, growing up in like the era that I grew up with. Like, lesbian, I don't know what it was about like that word, but the only kind of time you ever saw it was you heard it in an insult for like a tomboy, or you saw it as just a category of porn. And I feel like, yeah, it was just kind of a word that I was not afraid of, but like I always felt as if it was a little bit of a dirty word just because of the context that people used it in. Still, even now, it's the only sexuality that has like a lesbian, and like you can just be like, yeah, I'm lesbian, but like grammatically in my brain that doesn't sound right. But I don't know why a lesbian sounds like so like whoa to me. Like that sounds like such a big label instead of saying like, oh yeah, I'm gay. But I've become really comfortable with it. I fucking love being a lesbian. It's great. But yeah, that was the only like stigma it had attached in my brain. It was really, really weird. I hope some of you lesbians out there are like, girlie, we got you. We know what you're talking about. Have you watched and or read Heartstopper? Also, have you heard of Owl House? I haven't heard of Owl House, but that sounds very interesting and I may have to give it a watch. I've actually been really bad with TV and films this year. Like, I've barely watched anything. I have watched Heartstopper though. Absolutely adore it. I read volume 1 like years ago now, but I actually just ordered all 4 volumes, so I shall be reading those this summer. I actually did a create sim of the Heartstopper characters a couple of weeks ago, which I will link probably at the end of this video, to be honest. But yeah, really, really loved Heartstopper. Kind of just need to get back onto watching TV. It felt like I've been so busy this year. How did you know you weren't straight? Did you always feel different? Did you know from a young age? This is so interesting. And I kind of get like a question like this every year, but I always like to answer it because I think it's just like a good reminder. There genuinely is no time frame on like coming out, that you're comfortable in your sexuality or gender. I've said in the past that I was like quite old when I came out, but But in reality, I was like, what, 21? Like, that's hopefully not even barely a quarter of my life. And so I now look back at that and I'm like, oh, baby gal, you were not old, let me tell you. And I think that you can come out at any age. I feel like you can start feeling comfortable at any age. I think you can have realizations at any age. And again, I think all of this is fluid. Personally, for me, I had no feelings of feeling different, or like, I didn't really question that stuff when I was growing up. I wasn't really like romantically driven in any sense of the word, even in like teenagehood when people say you should start like feeling romantic relationships and things like that. I was just like, can't be bothered. Like, what is the point? And I don't think that would have changed. Even if I knew that I was a lesbian back then, I still don't think I would have had any interest in it. Like, yes, whilst I was watching Heartstopper, I was like, oh, you know what? It would have been like quite cute back then to be like out and like proud with the person I liked. But I personally don't think I had any interest in that. And I think that you can still have that like really fun feeling of falling in love for the first time, even once you do come out and you have those realizations. So yeah, I just say be you. Do it in your own time, because honestly, that's half the fun of it. Which LGBTQIA plus game character is your favorite? It's not gonna be a shock to anyone, but I would say Steph Gingrich. I absolutely adore Alex, absolutely adore Chloe, absolutely adore Rachel Amber. Notice how I didn't say Max Caulfield. But yeah, just like the Life is Strange games, I go on about them all the time, but I really do feel like they, alongside The Sims, were like kind of my first experience of like seeing myself represented. And I just think Steph is so like me in so many ways that I'm like, oh, you know what? She's my little lesbian and I will protect her with my entire life. Vans or Converse, I am a Vans girly through and through. Vans supremacy. How do you keep your temper with homophobic or transphobic comments? I'm not very good at this. I'm an Aries, in case you didn't know, which means I don't really mince my words all that much. I feel like on the internet, because you're all like restricted by characters and stuff, I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna try and educate this person, and then if I don't feel like I can educate that person, then I'm just like, yeah, you know what? You're not worth my time. I will straight up mute or block you. IRL though, I don't think I'd be able to keep my cool as much. I would definitely, like, if I witnessed something like that, I would have to stand up and say something. Like, I definitely wouldn't protect my own peace. I'd be like, nah, stop being a dickhead right now. I'm gonna take you down a peg or two. Ooh, did you ever have a celebrity girl crush when you were younger, or even now? Even now, Taylor Swift, hands down. My girl crush when I was growing up was absolutely Hilary Duff. Went to see her in the MEN Arena when I was like, what, 12 years old, and it was a life-changing moment. Do you subconsciously adapt the way you dress depending on whether you want to be recognized as gay or whether you don't want to feel obvious to anyone? I honestly, I know I'm very, very privileged to say this. My family, friends, I had a great support system when I came out. And so I am in the privileged position to not really have to think about what I'm wearing or how I'm presenting myself, but I also don't think that that's something that I've gone out of my way to do. I've kind of always just dressed like me. I honestly don't even follow like fashion trends or anything like that. Like, genuinely, I just wear what I feel comfortable in, even though a ton of people would be like, oh my god, Lucy and Yak is so fucking gay. And that's not like an insult. Like, you see a person walking down the street and you're like, are you okay? Cool. Lucy and Yak, we're both wearing it. But I just wear like clothes that I feel comfortable in, and that's the way I've always gone about like my fashion sense. At what time in your life did you find fellow queer people who you could relate with? I actually, like I said, my best friends in real life, like some of them are gay, and we didn't know. Like when we were in secondary school, none of us were out. Maybe some of us started questioning. I know I personally wasn't at that time, but we kind of, they always say that like gay folks cluster together before you even know it. We're like penguins in that sense. And that definitely happened within most of my friendship groups. So I would say like late teenagehood is when personally I started realizing that I had queer friendships, and I think that's super important as well. Ooh, tea on the pride, clothing and imagery. Do you prefer tie-dye or rainbows? Honestly, I don't mind either. I feel like rainbows, I like wear rainbow pins. I have like a little like gay pride flag like on my denim jacket. My denim jacket is actually probably one of the gayest things I own. So yeah, it has this like, I know, big snake on the back. But then on the front it has like pride, rainbows. It's kind of, I just find badges as a way of like expressing myself. I have like San Francisco, some of my favorite games, Be Gay Do Crime, Freezer Bunny from my artist Billy. I honestly love tie-dye, but I also love a good rainbow as well. I will say, like, I prefer smaller rainbows nowadays. Overalls or flannel, which is gayer? Personally, to me, dungarees are more gay. Did you lose anybody close to you when you came out, and how did you navigate that? You also told me about something that happened to you with a person that you knew. I would not call them a friend to you. Actually, in fact, I would say you absolutely do not need them in your life, and they lost you, you didn't lose them. Like, you didn't need them in the first place. If anything, they needed you to like make them a little bit more sensitive and more open-hearted and more understanding. So trust me, you haven't lost anything. And I know that probably doesn't really make it any easier because this person, like, you did happen to lose them. Honestly, I think if people don't want to accept you for who you are, then they just didn't deserve you anyway. And you will absolutely find people who respect you and love you for exactly who you are. And those are the people that you want in your life. You're going to be a positive impact on them. They're going to be a positive impact on you. And I think that's all we need in the world. If you could remake one show or movie to make it canonically gay, which would it be? Honestly, either Star Wars, I think like Leia or Rey, or I would have chosen Jessie from Toy Story. Honestly, the fact that I related to Jessie so much when I was younger and she fell in love with Buzz Lightyear? No. How rude during Pride Month. I identify as bisexual and have been out since I was 12. Recently, I've been questioning my sexuality again and if I just like girls or not, but I'm still attracted to men. Can you help? How do I figure this out? Yeah, I would say the biggest, most helpful thing is definitely just like time and sort of just like thinking about your feelings. I definitely would suggest like journaling, writing things down, like experiences, feelings that you're having, because then you can kind of always go back and like look at those and like read through how you were feeling in the moment. I'm gonna read out the name of this one because Jessie, icon. Do you wish you could go back in time and make Elsa gay, or do you still stand Jelsa supremacy? Honestly, I think at the time Jack was like a good pick for Elsa, but I will say I do think that Elsa is not straight. I actually think, okay, so hear me out. If I was like canonically writing my generations again, I think I probably would still have got Jack and Elsa together, but then I think maybe down the line, Elsa like becomes more comfortable with who she is. She obviously starts understanding her powers a little bit more. You get where I'm going. She starts understanding herself and her feelings, and I don't know if she would stay with Jack. Sorry to everyone's childhood memories that I just broke. As a gamer, do you feel represented enough in video games? I know they've come a long way in terms of rep. I still feel a distinct lack of LGBTQ plus characters. Is this something you've experienced, or am I just not looking hard enough? I don't play that many RPGs, and when I do, they tend to be the gay ones. I don't know, like, I think that's just me wanting to see the representation and wanting to play games that, like, I can connect with their characters in. I honestly just think that if RPGs have like a romance line, I really don't think it's difficult for them to add in like a same-sex relationship option and also a straight relationship option. I don't think straight should automatically be the default. I think we've moved past that. And yeah, I would like to see more, for sure. Like, I mean, I don't think that there's enough out there. I think just like more thought and more like actual authentic storytelling, which is why I always think we need more minorities when it comes to actually designing video games, because then I feel like it will be authentically represented actually when the game is released from those individuals who want to tell their own stories and want to relate the same way that we do as players. I want that for the devs. Why am I a big gay who can talk for so long about gay things? There ain't nothing wrong with that. But yeah, thank you all so much for your questions. This is honestly one of my favorite times of year. I love just celebrating all of you. I love seeing just so many comments during Pride Month being like, belong there really helped me, or like this video, like, oh, everything you said in this video, I was just like, yes, yes, yes. I just love that connection that we can have. It's one of my favorite parts about Pride and being part of the community is like kind of the level that we can get on. But yeah, I just appreciate you all so damn much. You make me smile every single day. I hope you are having a magnificent Pride Month. Take care of yourselves, keep on looking out for one another, and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye now.